Hello again, everybody, and welcome inside the International Training and Research Center in Arlington, Texas. This is BowlTV Live. I'm Matt Lawson, and on this show, every couple of weeks, we get together to talk a little bit about some of the things that are going on here at the International Bowling Campus, introduce you to some of the people that make all of these great programs happen, and of course, we're here to get you coached up a little bit as well. Carolyn Dorin-Ballard will be along in a little bit to answer some of your coaching questions, so please get those into us. This is an interactive show. We appreciate all of your help getting the questions into Facebook and Twitter. You can find us at USBC, and of course, youtube.com/BowlTV is the YouTube channel. PBA season coming up very soon. In fact, the World Series of Bowling gets underway in just 10 days. One of the biggest stories from last year has got to be Mike Fagan's breakout season. A couple of wins, his first major. He's going to be here with us in just a couple of minutes to talk a lot more about it as he gets ready to start his next season. Before he does, though, I'd like to go back and take a little look, a blast from the not-so-distant past at the biggest win of his year last year at the USBC Masters. Here with 2012 Masters champion Mike Fagan. We'll get to today in just a minute, but let's start at the beginning of the week. You had some first day problems and seemed to completely turn it around in a hurry. What changed?
The first day I just came out, I really had the wrong equipment in my hand. I was playing the lanes wrong, and just things really went south. I wasn't happy with my performance at all. Obviously bad decision making and bad shot making kind of put me in a real hole. So came in, watched everybody the next couple rounds and really tried to get a feel for what was working, what wasn't. Drilled a couple of bowling balls and, I guess the rest is history, right?
So you make it to the show, you get the number 2 seed. It's got to be frustrating. You're throwing the shot you want to throw, and you just can't seem to carry the 10 pin. What do you do in that situation?
It really is such a fine line right there. I don't really want to change a whole lot because I am in the pocket, and I know how difficult it would be, just to get to the pocket. So, just minor adjustments, a little bit of speed here, maybe a little bit of loft there, just trying to get that right angle to get that 10 pin out.
So we head to the final match, and it's you and Barnes. And that does that kind of feel like as it should be? I mean, it seems like the two of you were the guys who deserved this.
Yeah, Chris bowled unbelievable all week long. He's arguably the greatest bowler that we're living with today. And anytime you get a chance to bowl him for the title, it's not going to be an easy road. But my hat goes off to him. He bowled fantastic all week long.
Very first frame, you have the big open. How do you regroup from that?
It was a little bit of nerves. Just probably rushed the shot a little bit. But if you're going to have an open, first frame is probably the place to do it. So, regrouped a little bit, made some good shots, and then finally got it going in like the 5th or 6th frame.
Yeah, and you get going, and then Barnes has his disaster frame, and you go into, I assume, what is kind of like a closer mode. How do you kind of keep your emotions level when you know that you're getting this close?
Well, that's really the issue I've had throughout my whole career. I've always been something where I'm up and down on a TV show, and in this show and this whole week, my main objective was to keep the energy up the entire time and stay at a level field and be aggressive. I didn't want to be really aggressive and then come down and then go back up. I really wanted to just stay aggressive and throw the ball the way I know how to throw it.
And you end up throwing 7 in a row there to get into the 10th frame. Take us through those last few frames as it's starting to sink in that's really might happen.
Yeah, when Chris left that split, I was just like I said, I just wanted to be aggressive with the shot, and luckily enough, I got it going online, and pins carried and cooperated with that. So I'm just relieved right now.
I know how bad you've wanted this, not just this week, but your entire career. Now you are a major champion. What is the feeling, and what does it mean to you?
I don't think it's really quite sunk in quite yet, but it's an amazing feeling. I'm speechless right now. I know how hard these tournaments are to win, and you don't get a lot of opportunities. So for me to make the most of this one it's just a great feeling. It really is.
And here he is, PBA's Mike Fagan. Welcome, and congratulations again on a big season. A couple of wins, first major. In your own words, how big a year was this for you as you kind of start to take that next step in your career?
I mean, this year meant everything for me. It was just a huge success, just kind of a culmination of all the hard work that I've put in over the years. And, I'm not ready to kind of come off that peak yet. So hopefully we can keep this ball rolling and, bring it into the next season.
Bowling internationally a lot. I know these off seasons get shorter and shorter for you. Almost doesn't feel like you had a whole lot of time off, I bet.
No, I've been trying to bowl as much as I can. When you're bowling well, you want to try to stay on your game and be in competition. So I've been trying to get out there and be in the international scene, and things have been working well. So I'm excited, and I'm feeling on my game for the upcoming season.
Yeah, coming off of last season, so close to a Player of the Year, so close to winning an ESPY. Some of these things that come along with dominating the sport. Can you feel it now? Can you kind of taste it? You're like really right on the cusp. Is this motivation for you?
Absolutely. I mean, I know how hard these awards are to win. I've been on tour long enough to know that the Player of the Year, even for the best players out there, doesn't come along all the time. So for me, I'm just going to try to keep the learning curve going, and just try to stay on my game, and hopefully, that just bowl that much better this year.
World Series of Bowling, we mentioned, it starts in 10 days. You're about to head out to Las Vegas. Interesting, they've done this for a couple of years in a row now, where there are going to be 6 shows basically contended during this 10-day period. This is absolutely huge for you, and this is what you do for a living. How do you prepare for an event where you know that so much rides on the next 2 weeks?
Well, Matt, I've been spending a lot of time here down at the USBC Training Center, just practicing as much as I can, trying to think of scenarios that I'm going to need, different ways I can need to throw the ball, different drillings, different balls, just try to cover all my bases really for the next week's event. The tour used to be set up where you could just kind of, get your feet under you the first couple weeks, and then, kind of smooth into the season. We don't have that luxury anymore, so we've really got to be on our game right there from ball one, and that's what I'm planning to do.
God forbid you don't feel like you're matching up well after a couple of days out there. What are some of the things you can do? Because you don't have the luxury, like in one, of just kind of punting a week. This is the week that means everything. So what will you be looking for early on if it's not going well to kind of try and figure it out?
Well, luckily we have the PBA truck there. We can drill until we find something, hopefully. I also have some coaching there from Mark Baker and some of the other Ebonite reps. Jason Couch is going to be on hand. Bugsy Kelly is going to be on hand. So, we're going to have some people there to help us out. If things aren't going well, they're going to get us back on the right track.
Let's get a couple of viewer questions. Again, remember Facebook and Twitter. We are USBC, and YouTube.com/BowlTV for you BowlTV subscribers. Jennifer wants to know the secret to breaking down an oil pattern. You guys see a lot of different patterns when you're out there. What is the key? What are you looking for when you first start bowling on something?
Well, I mean, breaking down an oil pattern is kind of something that is more of, an experience type of maneuver. Trying to break down a certain part of the lane with a ball with some surface on it, just to kind of, quote unquote, groove your shot, is something that, has been talked about a lot recently. But when I try to start finding my shot, I usually try to start as far right as I can, and then I kind of work my way inside, so I don't ruin my hold oil from when I have to move back inside. So my goal really is to try to try to preserve the lane condition as much as I can as I practice.
We have USBC sport leagues where some of the folks at home can get into a league where they're bowling on these PBA patterns, our PBA experience leagues. One of the things we like to do is show you at home, kind of along Jennifer's question, how to play and how to attack some of these patterns. Today, we're taking a quick look at the Cheetah pattern. Have a look. The Cheetah pattern is a 35-foot-long, high-volume oil pattern. This pattern can range from one of the highest scoring to one of the lowest, depending on your style and the lane surface. The surface will play a key role in ball reaction on the Cheetah, as at some centers you'll see a lot more hook on the extreme outside boards. Laying the ball down as close to the channel as possible with an aggressive, smooth rolling ball will be a good place to start for most styles. Another option several players use on this pattern is a urethane ball due to the large amount of friction offered by the Cheetah pattern. We'll start today with Kristen, who has a classic stroker type game. She will play this pattern from the outside part of the lane, but not too far out on this lane surface. In this center, if she plays further out, her bowling ball hooks too early and she has trouble carrying. Using an aggressive ball with a little bit of surface and going with more ball speed are going to be Kristen's best options on the Cheetah. Next, we'll move to Tim, who has a slower ball speed tweener type game. You'll see he is able to slide a little deeper on the lane due to his slower ball speed, but he is still getting the ball close to channel. Tim also opts to use a ball with a little less surface, again due to his ball speed. A ball with too much surface or with too little for Tim on this pattern will lead to splits. Now we'll show James, who is our left-handed bowler. James is a stroker type lefty and will give us a look from the left side on this Cheetah pattern. James will be somewhere between first and second arrow with an aggressive ball, again with a little bit of surface to control the back-end reaction. While James has an excellent ball reaction on this pattern, he still does have to be accurate or his ball can quickly over or under react. Here is Alan, a higher speed power tweener. Alan will give us a little different look on this pattern, again due to his ball speed and rev rate. While Alan could be much deeper on the lane, hooking the ball quite a bit more, he finds his best ball reaction playing further outside with more ball speed. This gives him better carry and also more room for error. Again, an aggressive bowling ball with a little bit of surface gives Alan his best look on this Cheetah pattern. And finally, we'll move on to Derek, who is our higher rev power player. This pattern can be very challenging for higher rev or power players when this pattern is fresh due to the extreme amount of back-end reaction. Derek will work to combat this by using a very aggressive ball with quite a bit of surface. He does this to get his bowling ball into a roll as soon as possible, so it will use up its energy before the end of this Cheetah oil pattern. Doing so will increase his room for error. Once this pattern begins to break down, Derek will see less back-end motion and a more comfortable ball reaction. Again, to recap this Cheetah pattern, it can be a quite unique challenge due to the extreme amount of back-end. Playing as far to the outside part of the lane as possible with a smooth rolling ball will be important keys to keep in mind. For more information on how to play this pattern or for more information on PBA Experience Leagues, please visit us at bowl.com/sportbowling. And back with Mike Fagan, some tips there on bowling the Cheetah pattern. Hopefully you were watching. I believe that's the first one you guys are going to bowl in Las Vegas.
Yeah, I haven't had a whole lot of success in the Cheetah pattern, so any kind of tips I can get are good for me.
Well, it's available on BowlTV on YouTube, so we'll check that out. One more question for you before we let you go. Gordon wants to know, he wants to be pro bowler. He wants to know how to take his game to the next level. It sounds like an awfully big picture question, but there was a time when you were just a really good bowler and hadn't taken that next step yet. What did you do to kind of elevate your game to the next level?
I think coaching is definitely the key. You want to be able to get as much coaching as you can. Even if you see 100 coaches and you only get one thing out of each one, you're still ahead of the game. Another thing you can really do is try to stay away from house conditions. I mean, they lend themselves to you making errors and forgiving you. So you want to make sure that when you make a bad shot or you're not throwing the ball as well as you can, the lanes are telling you that, and the pins are telling you that. And just get out there and bowl as many tournaments as you can. I mean, that's really the key. When I was growing up in college and in high school, I was at tournaments all weekend long, and it was basically just all I did.
Excellent. Thank you for being with us. I really appreciate it. He's talking about coaching. It's like he's segueing for me because it's time for us to talk about coaching as well. One of the most important things, obviously, as you get going in your league season is you need to keep up with your equipment. We're going to head to the pro shop now. Brian O'Keefe has some tips for us.
Hi, I'm Brian O'Keefe, assistant coach here at the International Training and Research Center and assistant coach at Team USA. It's right around that time of the year, about the halfway point, right around the holiday season. And so we're going to talk to you about some indicators of when it's time to maybe get that ball freshened up or even possibly rejuvenated in the pro shop. So a couple indicators that we have are just overall the amount of games that you've used the ball. If you've used your ball maybe 30 to 40, even 50 games, it's probably time that you need to take the ball into the pro shop, have them touch it up with whatever surface that ball came out of the box. Number two indicator, if we look down at the two bowling balls here, we can see that the ball on the right is a fresh surface of the bowling ball. The ball on the left is a ball that has roughly 40 to 50 games on it. So you can see just in the overall appearance of the ball, that's another great indicator as to when maybe it's time to get some resurface job on the bowling ball. Now, if you've bought the ball probably within the last year or so, you can just take a glance into your local pro shop, and if that ball's still on the shelf, take a look at your ball, compare it. If you see a noticeable or visible difference, then that probably means that you need to get that ball touched up. Another great indicator of when to touch up the surface of your bowling ball or even possibly get it rejuvenated is that if you've gone long amounts of time without having anything done to the ball, and you can put your hand on the bowling ball, and just by having your hand sit on the bowling ball for a few seconds, you take that hand away and you can start to see a handprint within the bowling ball, then that probably means you need to bring it into your local pro shop, have it rejuvenated, and take that oil that is being absorbed into the ball back out of the ball. Now the last indicator that I'll say, and this is more just for each person's little bit different fine-tuning of their own game, but just look at the shape of your ball motion. If you start to notice that that ball just doesn't seem to have the pop that it once did, then it may be time to go in, like I said, about every 30 or 40 games, just hit it with a little bit of freshening up of the surface, or if we're talking more the 80, 90, 100 games, get that ball rejuvenated or resurfaced to bring it back to its old striking power.
Joined now by USBC Director of Coaching, Carolyn Dorin-Ballard. Brian makes a good point. We worry a lot about what we're doing on the lanes when we're out there, but you do need to kind of keep up with your equipment, make sure that everything's fresh. What are some tips you can give as far as making sure that your stuff is right?
I think the biggest factor is people start league after not bowling all summer, and they go in and really their equipment doesn't fit their hand properly. And what I mean by that is over the summer, if you haven't bowled, your hand's probably shrunk a little bit. So you're going to have to be prepared to get that ball to fit properly so you're ready for league. Make sure you go in, get it checked from your pro shop operator. Make sure you have some tape so that you can make that thumb hole just a little bit tighter so that you're not squeezing the ball. You have a nice loose grip. And don't forget about cleaning your equipment, especially if you haven't bowled. Make sure you clean it off with some of the cleaners that the pro shop can suggest for you to get that tackiness back to the ball and give you the most hook potential.
All right, how about we get to some questions?
Oh, sure.
From you. Miguel wants to know, when should he switch balls during a game? That's always a tough one. You move a little here and there. A lot of people want to switch balls immediately. What's the right mix?
Well, I try to make it really simple, especially if you're just bowling in league. In tournaments, it's absolutely different. But in league, if you're starting to leave that, for a right-handed bowler, if you're starting to leave that flat 10 and you make the move and then you're starting to leave a 4-pin and then you make another move and it's back to the flat 10 or the blower 7, that tells you that you probably don't have the right ball motion. So that's time to either make a bigger move on the lane, which would be first, maybe change your hand position a little bit, and if really that doesn't work or you don't feel comfortable, go to a ball that does something a little bit different. One of the keys to bowlers is watching your ball reaction. Make sure you're looking to see, is that ball going a little bit too far down the lane before it's making that turn into the pins, or is the ball hooking too early and running out of gas down by the time it's hitting the head pin? So if you can't see it, ask one of your teammates to help you read your ball reaction.
Okay, Steven wants to know where he should stand for the 4-7-10 split. I suggest you stand at the bar, Steven, but I'm sure you have a better answer than that.
Let me turn around and check out where the 4-7-10 is. Ah, yes, okay. Well, that's a simple one. I'm going to give you 2 pieces of advice for that one. You're going to shoot for the 4-7-10 like you're going to hit just barely to the left of that 4-pin and hit that 7-pin and try to slide it over into the 10. But if you're on my team, I'm probably going to look at you and say, get the wood. Make sure you get the 2 pins because it can add up at the end of the game.
I hear you guys say this quite often. It's not just for the 4-7-10. I mean, a lot of times you get the big 4. People think, if I really cut it really hard, and then maybe they only pick 1 instead of 2 pins, and that adds up at the end.
Count is so important. Too many people get wrapped up in, I can slide it over. I can make it. There are really only so many splits you can legitimately make in bowling. So when you do have the big 4 or the 4-7-10 or the Greek church, make sure you get the count, especially if you're in team competition.
Okay, how about another one? Jason says he's having trouble hitting his mark when there's a lot of oil on the lane. What can he do about that?
Well, without a few more specifics, I'm going to assume that your ball is just not doing the same thing over and over again. If there's a lot of oil on the lane, don't be afraid to change the surface of your bowling ball. One of the things we get wrapped up in is we bowl really good one night and we leave that bowling ball just the way it is, up, and then it doesn't work the next week. Make sure that if you feel there's oil on the lanes and your ball is not quite getting to the head pin, change the surface, make it a little bit more dull so that ball grips the lane a little sooner and makes a move to the head pin. This is a great opportunity for you to go into your pro shop and ask them to help you out with changing the surface of your bowl so that you learn how to use your equipment more effectively.
Hey, before we let you go, I know there's a couple things going on in the coaching department you'd like to talk about. We've got the Registered Volunteer Program. For those of you who don't know, it's a program where basically we're checking coaches who are going to be working with children to make sure that they're safe to be working with children, and it's going really well.
Yes, actually, many years ago we had the RVP program instilled in a lot of proprietors, made sure that everybody who coached in their center was a registered volunteer. What we have done now is we have mandated that all of our USBC coaches be a registered volunteer, and not only to protect our youth, it's really to protect the entire bowling community, which is the bowler, the coaches, and the proprietors. It's to protect everyone, and it's the best way for us to get some background screening on our coaches and hopefully make the bowling environment safe.
You've also got a gold validation class coming up where our coaches are, they go through certification, bronze, silver. There are not very many gold. This is the elite, and you're hoping to welcome a couple more.
Yes, we have 3 candidates that will be here next week going for their gold validation. Obviously, the highest level of certification you can achieve. They have done a lot of work to get to this level. They have to prepare for years to even get the chance to participate in the class. There's a lot of work, there's a lot of studying online, there's a lot of PowerPoints, a lot of lessons, a lot of learning about lane patterns, how to work the lane machine. So basically, the people that go through gold validation, they are an all-around coach and basically are the ones that will continue their education throughout the years and be the elite in the field.
All right, thank you as always to Carolyn Dorin-Ballard for being with us, Mike Fagan for taking time to stop by with us. We'd like to, of course, thank the ladies here of the Senior Queens Clinic for putting up with us, shining the lights on them while they get their stuff done, and to Lucas Wiseman behind the scenes as well. And speaking of the Senior Queens, what's going on here for the past week, the best women bowlers over 50 in the entire world have been going after that tiara, the big crown that they get to wear at the end of the thing. The winner, Hall of Famer Anne-Marie Dugan. We leave you with a look back at that one. Here with 2012 USBC Senior Queens champion Anne-Marie Dugan. Let's go back through the week a little bit. You guys all been here to the International Training and Research Center before, but not to bowl. What was that like this week here?
I have never bowled here. I've only been here one time before, for when the U.S. Open show was here, and so I really didn't get to see it in its open format the way it is like this. It was really a lot of fun. It's a really cool place. People should come down here and check it out.
As the week went along, what did you see out there? What was working that got you to this point?
You know, at first I started out, I don't get to bowl as much as I would like, so I was maybe a little rusty at the start, although I bowl league, and I kind of was playing it kind of straight and maybe fitting it a little bit, and I got looser and looser as the week went on. The third day I tried to hook it, and I went back to say, no, I need to play it straight. That's how the field is going to probably play it more, and that's how it's going to develop. And I really just my husband was able to watch me online, and then we would talk about it afterwards, and he gave me some tips on what I was doing with my push away, and just trying to be on balance and get through the shot. And luckily I was able to put them together when I needed them.
You get to the step ladder, and here 3 out of the 4 are Hall of Famers. The other, Shar, who obviously is a major talent. This was not going to be...
No, not at all. I mean, I was really nervous. I like that feeling, though. It's fun to have something to be nervous about. That's what we do it for. That's the fun part. Being able to bear down and make a shot when all your nerve endings are on end. And, they're all great bowlers. I have respect for all of them. And, I just feel really fortunate.
And now your first major senior event, you just turned 50 and you're Senior Queens champion. What's the feeling?
It feels great. I haven't won anything except for maybe a fun golf tournament in a long, long time, and this is my sport. Although, I do love to golf, but this is my sport, and to have the opportunity to win again, it was fantastic.
And a little piece of history to find out that you're only the second person ever to win the Queens and the Senior Queens.
That's what they told me, and I guess that Sandy Postma was the other one. So, it's kind of fun to be in a group where that's of something good that doesn't have very many people in it. I feel honored.